Hi everybody, thanks for joining me. You might think you're on a course, but you're actually on a training that will shift what you think about children's writing development. I'm going to invite you to let go of any expectations you have of this training. Forget what you know about occupational therapy and children's writing, so you can be open to see how this approach speaks to you. This is what you will learn over the next 3 days. On day 1, we're going to look at where to start and which skills to develop to help your child who resists writing so that they are more willing and more comfortable with their bodies to approach writing. On day 2, we're going to look at how to develop confidence and motivation so kids are more interested and willing to write and even enjoy it. And on day 3, we are going to look at how to build the sensory and motor foundations for stronger fine motor skills coordination. I'm going to share some really valuable and practical content with you, and it would be a disservice to you if I didn't share how you can work with me to help your child even more. So at the end of this training, I will tell you about my Roadmap to Writing Skills program starting again soon. I'm Manira. I'm a pediatric occupational therapist of 22 years. I had my first job in California where I went there because I was chasing after sensory integration experts to train and to work with. And I then moved to New York, New York City, where I worked in the early intervention program and different schools and sensory integration clinics. And I have now been in London for the last 11 years. I could tell you about all the sensory integration gurus I've trained and worked with while in the US, the amazing courses I've taken over there and the brilliant kids that I have learned from over the years. But my biggest influence has been my own child. I've had to work with many professionals since he was born, and the only ones who have really stayed in our lives have been those who have helped me as well. And this is why it's my mission to help parents to help their kids. Us parents need to be supported so that we can better help our kids. And this is why I do what I do. I help parents help their kids, and I help kids to feel more confident and comfortable in their bodies. So if you stay to the end of this training, let me know and I'll send you a video demonstration of some fun hand strengthening activities that are not play-doh or putty. And so just let me know and I will do that. So what do you think is the best way to improve writing? I'm going to give you a minute to think about it. Do you think tracing over dotted lines or practicing writing worksheets on their own is the best way to improve writing? Is writing practice enough to improve writing? No, doing the same thing over and over that is so hard for you will cause resistance because it's too hard. It's not kids' fault, it's just that we need to give them the right foundations to develop the skills for writing in a way that is fun and meaningful for them. Do you think the best way to improve writing is by building strength and coordination? Partly, yeah. Building sensory awareness, strength, and coordination is going to produce faster results than just writing practice on its own and less resistance. But what else gives the best start to improving writing? I'm excited as I think this is a really huge part of the picture. Ta-da! The best way to develop writing is through emotions, feeling confident and secure with what you're doing, and by developing motivation or a desire to want to write first. So imagine if your child chose to take part in drawing or writing themselves. How much easier is that than you trying to make them do it? Yeah, and sensory processing, strength, and coordination are also huge elements. It's a very loopy process where we need emotional stability first. Without that, it's just going to be a really long road. So resistance is a way to protect yourself if you don't feel safe or secure or comfortable. So for writing, it may be that your hands tire and hurt. Your eyes may feel strained, for instance. So if it's not easy, you don't want to do it. And then that is what looks like resistance. And this is totally why I don't drive in London. The streets are too narrow. I don't like parallel parking just to let another car go by, and I find it stressful and too hard, especially when I had a baby who cried all the time in the back seat. So pushing kids to write more without having the right skills in place will hurt their confidence. So what do we do to help? Okay, so stay with me. I'm going to first show you my process to figure out where to start. And as we go along in this training, I'm going to also show you some activities to get started on. So now we have established kids always have a reason that they're resistant to writing. And the resistance that you see is really an insecurity because they do not have the foundational skills to writing. So what we want to do is we want to recognize that resistance is just them communicating that something is hard. Then we want to figure out the foundational skills to develop, and we want to do all of this while preserving their confidence and encouraging a desire in them to want to write. So imagine having your child's hands more comfortable when they're writing, and imagine how they may feel just knowing that you understand their body and how to help them. So where do you start to help your child to be less frustrated and worried so that they're more confident with writing? I'm going to show you how. And just knowing this concept and this framework in this model here alone is going to take you really far. From working so closely with parents, when you understand the reason behind these treatment principles, you can then better help your child. If you want to know more about this pyramid, Google Pyramid of Learning and you'll find a much more detailed version, although I have added this circle to this pyramid and you're going to see why as we go along. So the mistake that most people do is that they start at the top of this pyramid. That's where we do writing practice, telling kids to write smaller or neater, or using pencil grips or colored lines for them to write within, or tracing, or saying try harder and just focus a little bit more. So I'm not saying we don't use these top-down strategies, but we only use them when we've also started at the bottom to support the child have the skills to do the higher level parts of this pyramid. And we also want to incorporate the elements of this circle at the same time. If we start from the top, that really exhausts your brain power and it takes away your concentration for academic learning, because then instead your focus is on your body versus on the cognitive things that you are learning. So instead, let's start at the bottom and then go up these levels while using the elements in the circle, which I want to talk about a little bit more now. So when I say emotions, this is where we're looking at having fun and enjoying what you do, being invested in what you do, because that's when you're going to have this feeling of safety and more willingness to deal with more challenges and more difficult tasks for you. That's when we can build on this sensory awareness, core strength, and coordination, when we have this safe space feeling. So tomorrow and the day after, I'm going to show you ways that we can address this resistance and build these skills even more. Okay, so do you know where to start on this pyramid for your child? I'm going to help you figure that out. And when you know then where to start, you're going to better know how to help your child in the most effective way. So let's start with sensory processing. This is a really simplified version, but if you answer yes to any of these questions, this is where you need to start on the pyramid. So first, is your child clumsy? Do they trip, fall, bump into things? Or when they are grasping and manipulating objects, do they drop things a lot? Can they sit still or focus? Or are they always on the move? Or on the other hand, are they too cautious when they are moving? So they avoid doing physical activities because they're not so secure with their body. Do they press too hard on their pencil? Or do they press too light on their pencil? Is it difficult for them to follow spatial words or spatial concepts and position their bodies according to that? And how is their gross motor and fine motor coordination? So if you have said yes to any of these questions, that this is where you need to start. And to be honest, I've hardly met children where we do not start over here. So next, let's go to core stability. Does your child slouch or slump over? Or do they W sit where their legs are kind of angled out to the sides? Or do they side sit where both legs are angled to one side and you lean over to the other side? And when sitting, do they have to prop or put one hand down on the floor to support themselves? Do they have to lean on the wall or other people a lot? And when they are drawing or writing, do they lay their head on the table like this? Or do they prop their head on their hand like this? And do they get tired easily? So did you say yes to any of these questions? If you did, these are also areas to work up on as well. So next, let's look at fine motor skills. How is your child's pencil grasp or grasp on small objects? Do they have a weak grasp or an awkward way of using their fingers to hold on to objects? And do they have an established hand dominance if they are, let's say, 4 or 5? Are they clumsy with their hands? Do they drop objects? And do they tire easily from writing? So if you've said yes to any of these questions, these are also areas to work on. And lastly, let's look at how is their visual motor skills. How are they with doing drawing, writing, and cutting activities? Is it difficult for them to draw lines or shapes and letters or to size their letters? How are they with target games, with throwing, catching, and kicking? Or doing playing sports? Do they get distracted easily when there's stuff going on around them or in a class or room with more things on around them? And do they lose their place when they are reading or writing? So if you've said yes to any of those questions, this is also another area to work on. But wherever you said yes to the questions, you're going to start at the bottom and work on going up. So now you know where to start. And imagine having these skills in place and the impact that it could have on writing. So what I want you to do next is go to the Facebook group and under this video, share your takeaways and where you need to start on this pyramid to help your child. And if you have any questions, please ask away in the group. I will help you there. and I'll see you in the next video where we will talk about strategies for resistance to writing.